Your life.
There it
Probably
goes.
not.
Where we are live now, live for episode 60 of the GameFi rundown. Uh, Paz, how you doing? I know it's early for you. It's late for me. We got to make these time zones work.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's good. I'm doing good. Thank you, man. How are you doing? How's it going over there?
I'm
Over the
doing great.
pond.
I mean, these Wednesdays for me are always just like jam packed. It's a day that I actually get to sit out of my day job, so I get to just be at my computer and do all Web3 stuff all day. I do the Disc Wars earlier on. I did listen to the Lizard Labs town hall, which this last topic here I'm pretty excited about. I threw it in there. It's about the Project Sentience that Lizard Labs is, uh, you know, building out. But I'll talk more about it later. But that's a pretty good one if you're a Liz coin holder or an ETH Lizard holder. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, and this always just finishes up my night because it's late here. So I do this and then I go to bed. Um,
Yeah, it's cool you have a day for like content creation and your hobbies and passion and side project or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
The
I mean,
hustle.
I keep telling people I want to just get rid of the day job like for good, but fortunately, I only work 3 days a week at the day job, so I get 2 days where I can kind of just focus all on this stuff. So it works for now.
So
Taylor,
Taylor
how
comes
you
in.
doing?
What happened to
Happened to
Jimbo?
Jimbo? Jimbo,
Jimbo is
I mean,
dead.
he could be back from time to time. Like I didn't boot him out of here. He's got a lot of things going on. I'll actually be looking forward to getting him back on here soon. TSG, this must be a great time for you. Hey, like always, like last week, if you want to come up, if you want to hop in with us, let me know and I will send you a link and you can hop in. But
What up? What up?
until then, we are just gonna get started right away. So Kieran had a town hall. I don't know. It was almost a week ago, but or after our last episode. So I just wanted to touch on some of the things that he talked about. Um, One of the main things that he started with was just saying that he realizes, the team realizes, and the community realizes that Illuvium came out, quoting what he said, undercooked. Oh, I keep forgetting. I get these fancy things when I do that. Um,
It looked real.
uh, yeah, he was saying that Illuvium came out undercooked in their. I don't think you can do it because you don't have a MacBook Pro like I do here. I think you
Okay,
can do
okay.
like I don't know how it
This
works.
one you can do
Um,
too, right?
Probably. Now you're throwing me off. Yeah, he was saying how they're like undercooked in there, and he was talking a lot about the new MMO Lite that they're going on. Um, One of the big things that came out of this, or two things that like stood out to me that I think like if you didn't see that, like you might want to know. One thing was just like what's what's happening basically between now and when the MMO Lite comes out. And he was talking about, and you can actually touch on this because you're a council member. He was talking
Mm.
about it's going to be up to the community basically what happens with the current overworld until the MMO Lite is ready. And he said there's a
Yeah.
possibility that if the community wants to just like shut it down and wait for the MMO Lite, that could happen. Or if they want to keep it open, he said something about maybe keeping it open like more internally, like not really I guess advertising it out to new people and just keep the people who are playing in there now until the MMO Lite
Yeah.
is ready. But he said that that would come down to a vote, through the community in the council. So has he talked to you or the IMC about that at all?
I can't speak for the IMC, but we have also seen the same thing, and we know it's going to come down to a vote sooner or later. And I think it's interesting, and I think we need a little bit more data on it to really make a good decision as a community. Because what I'm looking for as just a community member, not necessarily as a council member, is how much hours are we saving if we close it down? Like how much faster are we getting the MMO Lite if we close down Overworld? Because that would be my main point. Like if we save like 10 hours, say like who cares? Like leave it open for the because we have many Overworld fans who like the game and leave it open for them. But if we save a lot of manpowers, might as well close it down and not delay our future, but just holding on to the past, so to say. And yeah, what he suggested I think is similar to Ascendant, where you have an option in the main menu to unhide it. It's usually not not there for the people to see, but if you click the option, you can actually play Ascendant. So for everybody who didn't know that, you can still play Ascendant. There's not a lot of people in because we are focusing on Gauntlet, but yeah. What up, TSG?
What's up, Gen? Well, what's going on, guys? How you guys going?
Yeah, everything's good. We're just saw you in here and wanted to get you up here. But I get what we were just talking about, though. I want your opinion on this too. So Kieran did kind of like mention that there's a possibility the community wants to shut down the overworld until the MMO Lite is ready. Any idea on like how much? He didn't really. I think he was kind of saying end of the year, maybe for or Q3, Q4 for MMO Lite. Does shutting down the overworld make that MMO Lite come quicker?
It doesn't make it come quicker. Not really, no. But there are other reasons as to why we should consider it. Obviously, it comes down to the community and the council making that final decision. This is just a me point. Like, this is just for me. It's not for marketing or anything else. It's just my personal opinion. I do think that we should shut it down. The reason for it is that way when we come back out with a new Dawn, it's a full new launch. It's a complete relaunch. Whereas if we keep it open, it can be perceived more as, oh, it's an update, which we don't want to go away from. So in my personal opinion, and like I say, it's only my opinion, I think that a complete relaunch, a complete repackaging, a complete say, hey, look, we're moving away from what you knew about us is completely outdated. This is the new thing that we're coming to you guys with. I think that's going to do a lot more than saying, hey, we've updated the game. And even if we go out with, hey, this is a new thing, yeah, but you're building on top of what you already had. It can be perceived in that way. So I'm looking at it from a purely long-term marketing aspect, which is why that's my stance on it. I can understand the current players.
Do you think we would lose the players that are like dedicated right now? Like the people who are playing daily, weekly, like those are the people that I would be worried about.
Yeah, and that's why I think things like drone runs and things like that come into play to keep them engaged. I want to be very careful with how I say this. We don't want to neglect the existing players now. Like, that's definitely important to do, but we can't prioritize them to a point that we neglect the addressable market that hasn't been addressed yet, right? And so it's finding that balance of, okay, look, we care about you guys. You guys have been ride or die for quite a while. We want to get back to you guys, but we need to find that balance of what's best for everyone. What's best for the ecosystem? How do we bring in thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of players? Is that by primarily being laser focused on you guys? Not really. There needs to be that give and take. And my point of view was always one of a long-term aspect. So I think that some short-term sacrifice is required. I mean, you go to the gym. I've seen you start posting things. You have to deal with the short-term pain to get the long-term gains, right? So that's kind of my thought on it. And I know it might be a little bit hard. Again, this is just my point of view, not the marketing's point of view or anything. It's just my personal point of view. It might be a little bit hard for those most dedicated and be like, hey, like, what about us? It's one of those things where you do need a little bit of pain for that long-term vision.
Yeah, and the one good thing with Illuvium is that there are multiple games. It's not like if they decide to shut down the overworld, like Gauntlet is still there. You know, I think that would just make me focus a little more on Gauntlet while that's like the main option while the MMO Lite is being he's getting ready. But the other big thing that came out of that town hall is that Kieran said that they're looking for I guess like a very seasoned MMO game designer that I guess they're still looking. They haven't found that person yet. I mean, I haven't seen that. I don't know if you've seen internally if they found that person yet. But they're looking for someone who has a lot of experience. So people want to say, like, oh, the Warwicks have never built the game. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have the experience. Well, they're going out to find somebody who has the experience building MMOs. So I think the community can, feel good about that, right?
Yeah, I think that's really cool that it felt a lot like you could feel they got humbled. They got humbled from the launch, and they really see the mistakes they made and really own up to them. And now they're trying to make things better and bring in, like you said, a seasoned veteran who can help with the game design side of things. I think Aaron is super smart and talented to keep doing the gauntlet. So I'm stoked about that he's still going to be on the team and it's not going to be replacing all the old team, but it's really cool to see that they take responsibility and bring in somebody who has done it before. And I think this was the main thing that I've seen on Twitter comments and so on. Please bring somebody in who has done an MMO before. So it's really cool to see that they do that.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Gauntlet is doing pretty well. So I think Aaron's doing a good job with Gauntlet, but getting somebody who knows how to build out an MMO, who has that experience, like, I don't know how high they're going, but hopefully they can get someone who's built out one of these like well-known projects that's going to come in and people are going to have confidence in them. And I think getting the right person to come in and do that could be good for definitely good for the community sentiment, but could be good for the token. It could be if people see like, oh, this person had built this and this and this, and now they hear the Illuvium, that's going to be good overall.
Yeah, and like I think they said they're not gonna bring in the main guy from World of Warcraft or something, like the main game designer, but they're gonna bring in somebody like that has been maybe not the main guy, but a little bit below, and who is ready to take a shot at it and who just has the years in it. But yeah, I think they said it's not gonna be the main game designer from another game. But yeah, if you can say, hey, this is a main developer from World of Warcraft or something, that goes a long way, I think. Or other MMOs that have been popping up. So have you seen the Virtuals Illuvium trailer? I was very, very excited about it. I also did a video about it, a YouTube video.
Did you? The one that Virtuals came out with? Did you see that one?
Yeah, like their AI generated one.
Yeah.
That was very close to the original. That was very fun.
Yeah. I have it right here, and I feel like a lot of people didn't see it, so I actually just want to play it real quick.
Yeah, do that.
This is a cool video. Hopefully the volume comes through. I never know if it's going to work.
I'll let you know. I don't hear it now.
They say in the that these are AI generated, so it's not a 1-to-1 or whatever of the alluvials, but it's pretty cool that AI created this.
Yeah, I wonder how much input, how much prompts they feeded them for this, or fed them for this.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they
just really cool, especially now with the Umber kinda and the Adorius look so similar, and now they're all ascendant stuff. I like that second half of the video a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I still don't I have no clue how AI, even image generation works, but it's impressive.
Yeah, I've played around a lot with it, but don't ask me how it works. But it's really cool, the world we're living in, where you can just put in a few text prompts and you get this. The Rampfire looks exactly the same.
I don't know what that
Not so much anymore here. Well, it's like a dragon boss, and then you can go fishing with him, or you beat him up, or you go cooking with him, like all the different options that you can do with this dragon, right? Instead of just fighting the boss, you have like different kind of personalized quest experience and PvE experiences. And I used to be, or I am, a huge fan of Fable. I don't know if you have played that game ever. I played it like 10 years ago. And it was one of the first, if not the first game, at least that I knew, where whatever you do in the game, it was kind of an RPG. It changes how people see you. It makes you the villain or the hero. And also the story changes and everything around it. I was very sad that I didn't see that continued. And this seems like this is going to be kind of Fable on steroids, and kind of what I always imagined we could make happen in the future with a game like this.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kieran was mentioning, or I think I heard it was from Kieran in the town hall, but he was saying how, like, this is going to make, like, every experience, like, every time you go into this overworld, or, what's going to be the MMO light, it's gonna feel like a new experience every time because it's gonna be NPCs that basically have a mind of their own because they're gonna be AI. And then I think he said it's gonna start kind of with NPC characters, but then it's gonna build out to be so much more than that. But it would be kind of cool to just have, every time you go to play, you're going to get like a little different experience because the AI is just going to be generating new things every single time.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to get TSG back in. I think he had a little disconnect.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with
He's gonna
him.
be back in a second.
Oh, okay, you got him back.
Yeah, and the potential is crazy, right? If it's a sophisticated AI and they really can make like cool story thing. In my head, the nightmare is always it feels like AI generated, right? It's just like the same shit, just a little bit different forms and variables and everything. But if it's sophisticated and really can bring you a different experience every time you play it, that's insane. Like I've played hundreds of World of Warcraft characters. Every time I had to kill those 10 wolves and then those 20 pigs and whatever. Like if that just feels like a special journey every time you do it, it's so cool. I can't wait for that.
I don't know too much about virtuals because like before this announcement, I hadn't like looked into virtuals, but it definitely seems like it's like they're at the top of their game. I think they're one of the top AI gaming projects or whatever, in the space right now. So I think the partnership
AI
is,
agent.
yeah,
The top AI agent provider or whatever you want to call it. I looked a little bit into it. They have like Luna, which is one AI agent which does like streaming and stuff like this, where they build like relationships to the audience and stuff. And then the game engine that they have, they will utilize also for Illuvium, where you have those integrations into games. And there's a bunch like crypto degen agents that just like chat automatically or post something on Twitter and stuff like this. So yeah, it has many different applications, but basically it's a online persona where there is AI behind it and not a real human. That's how I think I would describe it.
Yeah. Taryn, nice
Yo.
to have you back. When are we gonna start seeing like this AI virtual stuff integrated into Illuvium? Like, is that coming soon or?
It's gonna be a minute. I think it's gonna be mainly with the MMO that we really see it. Yeah, I think there's different ways to look at it, right? I was on a space with Bryson and some of the other guys a couple, I don't know, maybe a week ago or something like that. And there are a couple ways to look at it. I don't think again, there's so many ways that we can take it. I don't think necessarily that the AI is going to create different storylines. Like, I think that's quite hard because that still requires a lot of the development to go into the storylines and what actually happens. But what I think it means is what it opens up is, okay, so you have a starting point and the end point, but how do you get to that end point? And instead of just being a singular linear journey, you've got a variation of timelines, a variation of dialogue options, so that maybe they see that you're doing a more evil playthrough or something like that. The dialogue that they give you it's going to be different than someone that's doing a pure lawful good playthrough, something like that. There's also something, I don't know if you guys saw the video from Mer5 in the NVIDIA showcase. I don't know, Najib, if you can bring that up as I'm talking about it, maybe you can watch that. It's only like a minute or two long or something. You can watch it with 1.5 speed.
Where can I find it?
You can search up Mer5. You just YouTube Mer5 NVIDIA will come up. And so something like that, it plays into what the potential is for Leviathans and boss battles and things like that, where you have a learning AI that gets better, that adapts. That's an obvious option there as well, and it's quite
crazy to me. Because when you go to World of Warcraft, I like to take as an example. When you go into the raids these days, every single move of the boss, you know it. Like it's your duty as a raider to first do the research to know what the boss is going to be doing. And the only guilds who will experience the boss for the first time and have to figure it out are like the top guilds who do it like the first time and try to figure it out. So if you could have boss battles that you have to figure out, you have to die and realize kind of like the anime. I dropped the name, but you have to realize the patterns and the
Shangri-La
attack patterns and
Frontier.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Like that's the cool
it's
thing,
so
right?
cool.
And it's not
Quickly, tell me what to search again, because I can't say.
MIR5
MIR. Okay.
NVIDIA. And yeah, like Paz, I think the cool thing is like this AI isn't going to design new moves, but what it'll do is randomize attack patterns, which I think is the thing, right? Like what you get as adults now, we all play games, and when I see it, like a bit of the allure is gone when I was a kid, because now I'm like, oh, I understand, it's just development, it's just code. Like, what's the pattern?
Yeah.
Once you figure out the pattern, you beat it. Like it's not as magical as it once used to be, and I think this brings back that magic of holy crap, I'm actually the hero in this game, not just someone that's trying to beat a code. Yeah, I mean, Najib, if you want to play that, you can do it 1.5 speed, just so it goes
This
a
is
bit
the one
faster.
right here.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if we can get the sound on it though. No, we can't.
You
get
hear the
on
sound
it.
right now? Because I
No.
hear it.
No,
No.
No.
no audio.
But regardless, I'll kind of talk through it as it goes down.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a boss that has AI learning. So what it does is it actually looks at the people. Like if we go into World of Warcraft, the standard strategy is get the tank at the front, the support at the back, do what you have to do. Whereas with this AI learning, it's going to actually kind of look at it and be like, okay, I'm actually going to target the support first because I know it's not going to do me the damage, and you need to play around it. So your tank would actually need a taunt or something to draw the attack. So it actually learns and actually plays around with it, which is quite cool. But that's one side of the virtuals thing. The other side of AI, and this is one that I found very, very interesting, was what if it doesn't... There are points that we want the characters in the game to just get really, really difficult, really, really good. And then there are points and players that don't want that. They just want to have a good time. What if AI is used to actually figure out and optimize for player experience? If AI starts to realize, oh, a player stops playing at this point, why, and figures out why they stop playing, maybe they optimize, or maybe we give them a win at this point. Maybe that's the thing that keeps them going, right? And you can start to do things like that, where that there are the AI models that have the legendary raids, like in Shangri-La Frontier, that is like 1 of 7, that is just impossible to beat. I think you absolutely need that for the hardcore end game. But then for the average player, what keeps them playing a little bit longer? What keeps them playing? I was playing Civilization with a friend, and we made a joke at the time that we met a cutoff, and we were like, "Oh, just one more turn," and we all laughed because it's like, that's the feeling, right? It's always just one more turn, and if we can get to that point, always, just one more run, one more battle, one more XYZ. If we can use AI to optimize for that, that could be very, very powerful in both of those things.
Yeah.
I
It makes
like
sense.
what you said about making it easier for some, but making it harder for some others. Like you see that guy that is grinding 10 hours a day, like just make him miss a few battles, or give him this boss that you know he's probably maybe just barely not gonna kill, and like spark that fire, and then the casual player who logs in, like give him some wins, give him some easy bosses, and let him see what it's all about. Don't slap him in the face right away.
Like there was... Sorry, Chief. I'll just say this. I was talking to Nil and Llama Jackson about this. The thing I like about something like Monster Hunter, and I think it's something that we should incorporate into the MMO Lite as well, is like a tier list of quests. Same thing with Shangri-La Frontier, right? Where you have a D tier quest, a B, C, A, S, double S, and then the triple S. Like the triple S, like in my mind, the triple S is like the legendary, like the Colossus in Shangri-La, where it's like, man, maybe we only see that once a month. And maybe it takes players an entire month or 2 months to beat it because it is that crazy. That one-shot kills, where if you get hit by it, that's it, it's game over. Like we need something like that in the very, very, like, man, if you beat it, holy crap, you beat it. You're the guy. The same way that you have, I forget what the sword chick is in the anime. Everyone like reveres her. And it's like, that's the same kind of feeling you want. But then for the average player, they don't want to be struggling like that. They just can keep doing D tiers or B tiers and feel good when they get to A tiers. And A tier remains to be a challenge for them. But we need that change in difficulty where it's appealing for all players. So a child can stick to D tier and maybe get to C tier. But someone like us would want to grind and be like, man, I want to be the one that gets that triple S. Like, that's
Yeah.
the shit.
What I think would be cool is because like I want to get to a point where I'm playing these games with my daughter. It would be cool if I could go into the same, like let's say in Illuvium it's like a Leviathan battle. If I could go into the same battle as my daughter, and the Leviathan just, the AI knows that I'm the better player, so it focuses on me and lets her character, you know, have an easier time. You know, I think that would be pretty cool too. Just
I think
not just the AI versus, or like in that one area, but focusing on different characters like that too.
I mean, there are options to do that, right? Like, it depends on the road that we want to go down. But you see it in games like Super Mario World and not Mario World, sorry, Super Mario Wonder, whatever the new one is, where they've got like the children characters where they can't actually die by getting hit. So you as the adult will play Mario, or it's someone that actually has to play the game, and the kid can just run through the Goombas and not get hit by anything. The only way they die is if they fall into the gaps.
Yeah.
And like there are things like that. Obviously, I don't think that would make sense for a triple S tier. Maybe you cap that up to like C tier or B tier. But then if you are getting loot from it, I think like the S tier, triple S, double S, like all of that, there should be a toggle where it's like, okay, that's not eligible for these tiers. Whereas for the lower tiers, it is. Like there are all these things that you can consider to achieve the goal that you're talking about, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to move on to this next topic, but before I do that, I just want to get at a couple people in the chat here. So Big Man JB, how's it going tonight? It's going very good. How are you doing? James Bond says, "Good day, lads. How you doing?"
So good that his name is James
I love
Bond.
her. Illuv. Hi, everyone. And then there's a question here. I wonder if you can answer this for us. So Soda is asking, do you have any news on spectator mode or carousel or portraits? Or, no, portals.
Portals. Yes. It's all being worked on. I believe Aaron is going to be coming up with a blog post relatively soon with updates on it. I don't think it's going to include timelines per se. But I think, Paz, you have an AMA with Aaron coming up.
Yeah, thanks for the plug. I was gonna post it. I posted in the chat right now, the Discord thread. But you can just find it in feedback ideas. I have an AMA coming up with him, and you can submit your questions. So feel free to do it there. And it should be happening end of the week, latest next week, I think.
Yeah, cool. And regarding that, I'm sure you'd be able to get some rough timelines. I won't say get hard timelines. Like I'm looking at them internally. You should be able to get some rough timelines, and I think he'd be open to sharing it. So carousel, spectator mode, and scouting, that's going to be one of the later things that happens. But carousel's definitely being planned and worked on. A bunch of things, and I think once the blog comes out, it's going to shine a lot more light on what we can expect, and I think it's quite interesting that there's a lot of interesting and I think a lot of cool conversations to be had about it, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so getting into the latest update for Arena, patch 1.4. Paz, you're definitely the expert on Gauntlet here, so I'm gonna let you take this one on. Let me know if you want me to point out any, or I get the, anything you want me to point out here. But what are the big changes with this update, and what can people expect when they're playing?
Yeah, I don't want to go over all the changes. I again did a YouTube video for that, so it's gonna take a while if we do that. But basically, the overpowered stuff has been nerfed. The underpowered stuff has been pushed. So we have been seeing a nerf in, for example, water, because a lot of people are playing 9 water. Triple toxic was a little bit broken, so the reign of the right blends has been stopped a little bit. 9 water is still playable. And the rogues are still very strong. And yeah, fighters still have their space as well. We have a little bit less units than TFT, for example. A little bit less combination, especially because our stage 3 weapons are also not that accessible. So many composite synergies are not available. Like, for example, on top of my head, Behemoth, you need 2 stage 3 tier 4 units and stuff like this. Even though people are now going more for it. But yeah, overall, just put the balance a little bit more in space and fixed the broken stuff. I think it has been well received, and we have been doing a tournament qualifiers for the last 7 days. So every day I have been recording about 50 screenshots or something in a spreadsheet for the leaderboards for the qualifiers for the tournament that is coming up this Saturday. And while looking through this, it's every time a different composition winning. So I think they nailed the balance, and it's really cool to see. It was just a server-side balance, just tweaking numbers, no update needed, and yeah, love to see that there is still some effort going into the current player base, and yeah, we're looking at a really balanced gauntlet right now. I like it.
Awesome. How was the what do you call it? The whatever's been going on the past 7 days, qualifiers for your tournament. How many players did he have in there? How many people are competing for that? And how many people are going to be in the tournament?
Yeah, we had it capped at 32 players because the time zone is not perfect. We don't really have US players with the current time zone that we're hosting them, but we have other tournament organizers who do US time zones, so that's all right. So we capped it at 32 players, and we had 44 players compete every day over 7 days. So I think the queue time is not comparable to before. Hype started doing this qualifier format, where now we have you wait 5-10 minutes and you have to find a game, because everybody's playing for something at the moment throughout the day. So yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome. So you're saying 32 are going to the final part of the tournament?
Exactly, yeah. We used to do 64 player tournaments when I was still in Europe. Now we changed it up, but I'm positive we can, with a little bit more marketing push, we can get back to 64 players, because last tournament we had checked in people like 52 or something, like actually being there ready to play. So if we push it a little bit harder, I think we can get back to 64. And then 128 players back in summer when I'm back in Europe and we have a better time zone again.
And then how does that work? Is it going to be like the top 4 move on to the next round? Like you get 8 in the match and top 4 move on?
Yeah, we have actually tried a different format every single time. This is now the 6th iteration since we restarted the events with the gauntlet. And we have tried best of 1, top 4 move on. We have to save some time, because usually the tournament lasts 6, 7, 8 hours. So once we get more prize pool, maybe we're going to do a 2-day tournament, or very likely. But yeah, we have been experimenting with best 1, top 4 move on. I think people like that, because as a good player, it's not so much RNG. You can kind of always squeeze into the top 4. Like it's a big separation there. Now, at the moment, we're doing something where all 32 players play 3 games, and then the top 8 players by score move on into the finals. I think that's been really cool. And now we have the leaderboard, so we can actually seed the players depending on their performance in the leaderboard. So it's not random seeding, and it's like not so much RNG. You actually get seeded the best versus the worst to give them an advantage for placing, for example, high in the leaderboards. And yeah, that's what we're doing right now. And then for the finals, we have a checkmate format. So you play until you have a certain amount of points. Once you reach the threshold, you need to win 1 more game to win the tournament, which just gives you that big last game where the winner of the game actually wins the tournament. Which
and this is happening this weekend on your channel?
Exactly, yeah. This weekend, Saturday, we start early morning Europe with the tournament, and then 2-3 hours later for the grand finals, I'll be starting up the stream for 4 hours. So around midday Europe time, we're gonna be starting. Expect like 11 a.m. UTC, 12 a.m. 12 p.m. UTC. Yeah, midday UTC Europe. That's when we're gonna start the live stream.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely try to check some of that out, and I'll retweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I reached out to a lot of influential people in Illuvium, so maybe we have some developers on. We had Miko in the past. Maybe we're gonna have Neil on. So yeah, maybe one of you guys, if you're there, you wanna join. I'm trying to just get a few people on to host games with me and have a chat and everything. So
yeah. If whenever I like jump on, and if you don't have anybody on at that point, I'll reach out and I can jump on with you.
Sweet. Let's do it.
Yeah, I can't wait till these tournaments get bigger, and I keep saying I want to get Arena on mobile so I can play more, but I got to get more into Arena and get better. I really do.
Okay, good.
All right, let's just go to this next one. TSG, this is going to be a good one for you.
Is
So
it?
I put this topic in here like a day or two ago before everything started pumping, like yesterday and today. But really, what I wanted to bring up, and I guess this still works for ILV because the ILV token is obviously pretty far down. But I heard someone on some YouTube channel talk about like the scenario where BTC dominance just takes over this bull run with all the institutional adoption, and the altcoins don't really have that run that everybody is expecting. Like obviously they would still move up with the market, but they wouldn't outpace Bitcoin. And then in that scenario, people just start trading everything back into Bitcoin. Um, so if we were to see something like that, where Bitcoin still has its run, but the ILV token, all other altcoin like gaming tokens, they don't really see that massive run like we want them to. How does that affect the game? Like funding more for the game? Do you think these games will just die out quicker because their token isn't running, or do you think we're maybe getting to that point where a good game is going to be a good game? People are going to play it regardless of the token price.
I don't think that your premise is actually going to happen. Like, I don't think that it's like BTC dominance is just going to be the thing. The reason I say that is human greed is just human greed. Like, it's one of those insatiable monsters that you can't really quell. And as things, we look, I'm not here to make market predictions or anything like that, but everything seems to be pointing in the right direction with Trump getting in. I forget what state it was in the US that has now said that they're doing a BTC reserve.
There's like 5 or 6 of them now.
Yeah, and so it very much looks like. I mean, they've got David Sachs as the crypto guy. He's very pro crypto. He's mates with all like the all in guys, Chamath and all those. That they're very pro crypto. So I can't imagine. There's so many countries that are now making a BTC reserve. I can't imagine the US with Trump and everyone so pro crypto leaving that. And if we see that happening, I think we start to see. It's interesting. I thought that we would have seen a lot more news coverage and mainstream media coverage about it hitting 100,000. It seems pretty quiet. So I mean, there are theories that BlackRock is suppressing the news so they can buy more at this price before they go crazy with it. I don't know, but I think once it gets to a point and euphoria does hit, because it hasn't really hit yet. Like,
yeah, I agree.
We look at the like we just look at it all, and it seems. I don't know. It's just not. I'm not saying it needs to be the same, but it doesn't even seem like it's rhyming. And when it does happen, people are going to want higher volatility options to choose from, and that's not Bitcoin. So at some point, we will see a transition. I don't think that everyone's going to go. I was watching someone who said, okay, like their expectation for Bitcoin is a 2x from here, ETH is a 4x, and it's like, damn, like if that's what they're thinking on ETH, like what else? They're going to go much lower, right? Like these guys aren't going to want a 2x, they're going to want 5x's. We know what. In euphoria mode, people are looking for 1,000x's. Like, it's crazy. So, yeah, I don't think the premise even stands. So, yeah, I think it will happen. It's just a matter of when. Rate cuts, I don't think it's happening in January. I think it's probably a March thing that we start cutting rates again. And
yeah, I was here in
we'll
June,
see.
But
we'll see.
But yeah, like I said, I put this like 2 days ago before we started having the pump. But it had seemed like every time altcoins get a little pump, they end up just falling back to having, BTC take over. And really, obviously there are coins that have pumped crazy this year, but, well, not this year, 2024. But, like, if you just held Bitcoin in 2024 and stayed out of the altcoins, you did really well. It was a winning play.
Sure. Yeah.
So some people, probably a lot of the Bitcoin maxis are saying this, but... and even I started feeling that way too. I was just like, why do I only hold like a third of my portfolio in Bitcoin? I'm like, I should have 75% in Bitcoin because it's just the one that has been doing the best. But I do agree. Once it gets to a certain price, people are going to take profits and they're going to want to take it, put it into smaller coins to get bigger returns. So I don't think it's going to happen. I was just going more along the lines of if the gaming coins, or even if we just look at a specific game, if the coin
Look,
didn't pump,
a good. I'll just
how
say
does the
this.
game go?
Yeah, I'll just say this, man. Like, I don't know. Did you guys ever play the game Tibia? I know it's a very old game, super random. I don't know if you guys. Okay, it was like back in the day when RuneScape was big. It's called Tibia, Tibia, and
Like
it's pretty
your
much
tibia
what.
bone, like your shin bone.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it was what Raven Quest was based on. If I'm not mistaken, some of the guys that made Raven Quest were actually from the Tibia team. That one I might be wrong on, but I know it was based on that. And this was a huge, and this is like I'm talking RuneScape days. This was like a huge MMORPG back in the day. They've just now announced a token on BNB. So, like, we all know this already. Like, whether it's the token or not, we know that ownership is a thing that is going to benefit games. Like, where Borderlands 4 is coming out, people are going to be hunting for loot boxes and trying to get the best of the best weapon. We see it with CSGO already. We see it on the Steam marketplace. Like we keep having the same conversation. At some point, this technology will be integrated, whether that comes from the Web3 sector natively, or it comes from the Web2 integrating that technology. I don't really care. I just know as a gamer myself, it is going to happen, and it is going to benefit not only the players so much more than what the current system, but it has the potential to benefit the actual studios as well. So yeah, like we talk about it, is it going to be a game or not? It will happen. How it happens, I don't know. When it happens, I don't know. All I know is that 100% definitively, it will happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Taylor is confirming what you're saying. Oh, I think I just tried to pull it up at the same time you did, Pest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor is confirming what you're saying there.
Yeah, I used to play
Everything's
Tibia
better.
like crazy. I've got some mad stories about Tibia. So yeah, it was cool to
Yeah.
see that.
I'll have to look that up. I've never heard of it before, but yeah. I mean, let's
We
move
have
on to
one
this
more
last.
thing on the list.
Go ahead, Pest.
Did you want to talk more about the other one? Otherwise, we can jump to the last one.
Yeah, if you have something to say, then go ahead and say. If not, we can move on to the last one here.
Yeah. No, I'm let you. I let you close the other one. So yeah, we have the last one here with Lizard Labs, and I want to ask you, what is Project Sentience? Because I've seen it pop up on Twitter, but I wasn't really sure what's going. And I think they're gaming publishers, or they're like a solution for development companies and stuff like that.
Yeah. So even when it popped up, the Project Sentience thing a couple weeks ago, I was a little confused on how it was all working together, like as well. But then they had Lizard Labs had a town hall today where Annie spoke the whole time, and he basically laid out what Project Sentience was, and it's basically going to be a game publisher for the Web3 space. So this is Lizard Labs partnering with the Green Room and what is it, Sophiaverse for AI. And basically they want to be like an end-to-end game publisher for the Web3 space. And they're looking not just at Web3 games, but they're looking at any, traditional like Web2 games that want to bring, Web3 technology and AI into their projects. And they're going to try to be like I said, the whole end-to-end publishing thing. So they want to help with, you know, funding, infrastructure, marketing, distribution, branding, and they want to be that. Like they say, there's not really a good game publisher in Web3, and they want to be the number one game publisher in Web3. So Annie says that they're not trying to like compete with Nintendo or something like that, but they could be the leading game publisher in Web3, and Web3 needs it, and it would be another step in the right direction for bringing that, that blockchain technology and all of that, to the space. And it, another thing that he pointed out is that like Lizcoin holders will see a benefit in all this. So if this takes off and this Project Sentience is, making a ton of revenue, they already said that the green room itself is bringing in about $2,000 a month right now in revenue, which is already pretty good. You look at any Web3 projects bringing in $2,000 a month or $200,000 a month. They're doing pretty good.
Is it 2,000 or 200,000?
Sorry, 200,000 a month.
All right.
I don't know. Did I say 200 or to start? Yeah, 200K a month they're bringing in.
Right.
So they're already off to a good start. And they said if this Project Sentience and everything, takes over, they don't know exactly what the revenue split is going to be, but there is going to be a revenue distribution to the Liz, stakers. And
do they have?
It just made me more bullish on the coin too. I went and bought more today.
Yeah. Do they have any projects lined up yet, or is it just very early and no names?
So it is pretty early, and this question did come up to Annie. He said that they've already had a handful of projects reach out to them since they announced Project Sentience, and they have other projects that they're looking into. They said it's going to be, I think, 2 or 3 months before they really get started with this and kick it off. But he said they've already got top projects that they're looking at, onboarding through this that want to be in the space. And then obviously that brings revenue into this Project Sentience, which again goes to Lizard Labs and then into the Lizcoin stakers' hands. So it all seemed, pretty bullish to me. And if you think about it, if they're being like that end-to-end publisher where they're also helping with, funding for this, they could just be like, all right, we're going to help you maybe get $100,000 to start this project. We want 10%. So they're in the what's the project going to say? Oh, we don't want to give you the 10% for $90,000. So it just makes sense if this is going to help projects get funded, it should be a good source of revenue for Lizard Labs and Project Sentience as well. And like I keep saying, it's going back to the Liz coin holders. Like they don't have a stock on the stock exchange that you could buy. Like the stock is basically Liz coin. So it made me a little more bullish on that.
All right. That's nice.
Cool. Just one thing. Sorry, I'm going to bring back to the BTC dominance topic. Just one sec. Just so you guys are aware, in 2017, BTC dominance bottomed at 40%. In 2018, it was about 32%, 33%. In 21, it was 40%. And in 22, it was 38%. Where it is right now is 56%.
56, okay.
So it hasn't even hit like 49%. And like we've seen it bottom at, like I say, 40%. Mm-hmm. Or like there's so much to go. And I don't think it's going to stay that high. Like I say, like it's a more developed industry, and people are going to want to gamble on it a little bit more. So I'd imagine seeing similar numbers. Even if we say 45, that's still a 10% variance on where it is now to where I think it can.
Yeah, it is starting to trend down at this point. I think it hit as high as 61 or 62%. And if it's down at 56 right now, it's trending in the direction that's good for altcoins.
It's actually
a good
trending.
thing.
It's been trending up, which is the crazy part. Like since like 2023, like 2023, let's say at the start of 2023 or late 2020, started mid 2023, it was like 49%, and it's just been going up steadily, and it's now at 56%. So obviously it goes up and down slightly, but we haven't seen that alt season yet.
Well, what I'm saying, I think it was right after that the big pump in November. I think it hit to that 61%, and a lot of people are, other than Bitcoin maxis, are hoping that 61% was the peak, and then since the end of November, I think it's been trending down to 56%.
Yeah.
So 2 or 3 months of a downtrend, but years of an uptrend. So we'll see which trend holds here.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything to say on Project Sentience. I'm sure you probably don't know that much about it because that town hall was just this morning. I might make a solo video just to kind of cover it. I did make some notes on it. There's a lot more that was talked about in that. But I still think that the whole Lizard Labs and ETH Lizards project is being slept on. I think it's going to be a big thing in 2025.
I am looking to get a bit more involved with the Lizards again. I think I want to jump back in.
Yeah, you were the one who
stay
got
up to date.
me involved early on. So,
Yeah.
I'd love to see you more in there. They got a lot of things going on. Annie is obviously a very smart guy. He knows what he's doing. A lot of people trust and believe in him. And the more I hear him talk, the more I believe in him too. Like I think they just keep building over there, and it's all behind the scenes, really. They have
Annie's
these
a
town
gangster.
halls. What's that?
Annie's a gangster.
Oh yeah. But they have these town halls, and this was just like for, like I think it was ETH Lizards holders, or it wasn't even just a town hall open to everybody. I think there was about 150 people in there watching, but it's like they're not like announcing this. Like, they haven't even started marketing all of this yet. It's just been suppressed. And once they start, like, a marketing campaign and they have a couple more products out, like the Lizard League that they've been talking about, like, I think it's going to be one of those projects that really, blows up for this bull run.
That's cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm excited I'm speaking to a couple of the guys, and I have nothing but love for Annie.
Yep.
I would love to get a little bit closer to that again. I think it could be fun. I was there.
Awesome.
I was there from the very, very beginning, so it might be a good time to jump back in.
You are. Yeah, you got some of those lizards. Like, you minted some of those lizards, right?
Yeah. I won't say from the very, very beginning because I wasn't there for the Genesis, like the legacy ones.
Yeah.
But
For the
new
Venture
school
lizards
ones.
or V2, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still earlier than me, but I definitely I picked them up as my second favorite project, right along with Illuvium.
Of course.
So and it kind of makes sense. I hope they don't forget where they came from. By the way,
I'm sure they
Blizzards
no chance.
they came from like the Illuvium Discord a long time ago. I bet you a lot of people are already forgetting all about that, but they're tied very close to Illuvium, and that's one of the reasons why I've stuck with them through the years. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to conclude this episode. That was a pretty good one. TSG, thanks for joining us again. Anytime you're around at this time, feel free to hop up.
I appreciate you.
As always, thanks.
Thank you. That was great. Good
Yep,
time. So
and,
looking forward to the next one in 2 weeks, right?
Yep, 2 weeks is always the goal. If we push it an extra week, we do it. But I always want to plan for 2 weeks. So if we have stuff to talk about in 2 weeks, we'll be back in 2 weeks. And I'll try to check out what you got going on this weekend with the tournament. I'll hop in on a stream with you if you need somebody up there. And we'll see how that goes.
Guys, submit your questions to Aaron. That's a really cool chance to ask the game designer of Illuvium, the game director of Illuvium, some questions, and I'm gonna try to put him on the hot seat. So submit that in the Discord, and see you guys on.
When is that? When do you have that AMA?
It's not finalized yet.
Okay.
It's either end of this week or next week. So I would just, let's say end of next week, it should be live on the YouTube.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, we'll check that out. Maybe next episode we'll talk about it too, and you can give us the highlights.
That would be cool.
All right. That's it. See you guys later. Episode 60 in the books. Have a good night.